How are you guys doing today?
Good.
All right, great. So today we're going to go through and talk about figurative language and how it applies in the play Romeo and Juliet. So I've assigned an assignment based on Cami. So Cami is a free use app that you guys have used, I think, before maybe. But it is an annotation strategy that we've kind of done before on paper, but this time you're going to be using a digital document to clarify your ideas and the abilities to reflect figurative language use, okay? The first thing that we have to do is talk about Cami and the ability to use technology. So there's a few things that we have to clarify. First and foremost, everybody in Morgan County has a Cami account. You may not know that, but through your Morgan County system, they've allowed you guys to do that through your Google Drive account, okay? So each of you have your own designated account that you will be using. So here's what we'll talk about in terms of safety usage. Do not share your passwords with anybody, okay? Your password should be clarified just for you. It should be your own Google account through your S number that Morgan County has applied for just you, okay? Do not share that with anybody. Do not click on any email that you don't think that is proper. Make sure that you are using your email and only your email designated from your S account for Morgan County, okay? The next thing that we need to talk about is legal use. Now, with Cami, with any type of literature, you must always do what if you're quoting any type of literature? You must cite it. You must have the reference, okay? So who was Romeo and Juliet made by?
Shakespeare.
It is Shakespeare, but this is a little bit different, right? It's in iambic pentameter, okay? So it's similar to what we did with the sonnets. It is made in a little bit of meter with poetry, okay? We're never going to cite Shakespeare and then the page number, right? That's what we did in Anthem with novels, okay? This one's based on what? Poetry, right? Right? Okay, so we only will use the line numbers, especially for this assignment. So it will be line number and then 75, 80, 90, whatever you choose as your quotation, okay? Let's also talk about ethical use. Guys, this is your individual account. This is your individual document. Yes, you are working in groups, okay? But the number one thing you need to understand is that plagiarism and cheating is no longer allowed, okay? Has never been allowed here at Brewer High School, okay? So you need to understand this. I understand that you have phones. I understand that you have your own Google Docs that you can share. Cami is not an assessment-based tool that you can share. I know that you can take pictures of it, okay? But cheating is not allowed, okay? And we need to make sure that plagiarism is no longer, especially at Brewer High School, is not allowed here, okay? Now, let's go ahead and talk about how everybody can use this. So Cami, you'll go through your Schoology account. You'll go ahead and click on the app based on the assignment that I've given you, and it'll open up Cami, okay? Everyone can use this. It is a free app that Morgan County has paid for you, okay? Now, let's talk about how we're going to do this. So, annotations, we always have to read and analyze what's really important, and that is the identify section, okay? We have to identify what is important and how the author is using a specific figurative language use to allow us to get to the author's meaning, okay? So, in this case, I've given you an example of how to do this. But the first thing that we need to do is talk about how to get there, okay? So you guys are ethically using your Chromebooks through the internet of Morgan County to get to this service, okay? Now, I'm going to use the smartboard here to allow you guys to have a visual representation of my example, and that way we can do this as a group together and do it properly, okay? But this is how we're going to do that, and that is what we're going to do. So, let's go ahead and talk about how we're going to do this, okay? So through my example, we're going to go through and talk about and read Lady Capulet's Act 1, Scene 3 after we read the directions, okay? So it says, read the following dialogue where Lady Capulet and the nurse try to persuade Juliet to consider marrying Paris from Act 1, Scene 3, lines 70 through 95. Now, my directions state as is. On the right-hand side, identify the figurative language used by and provided by each of the following characters. At the end of the passage, you will write a 5 to 8 sentence paragraph oriented around the author's purpose for such use of figurative language. Now, I'll go ahead and read 70 through 74 so that we have an identity, and I'll go ahead and read my example for you so that you have an opportunity to do so. Well, think of marriage now younger than you here in Verona. Ladies of esteem are made already mothers by my count. I was your mother upon these years. That you are a maid, thus end in brief, the valiant Paris seeks you for his love. Now, we talked about a lot of specific word choice here in recent works that we've gone over. I used it here. So the specific word choice of valiant. In this case, Lady Capulet's trying to get Juliet to marry Paris. Okay, so Paris is the one that is the cousin of King Aeschylus. Okay, and it's really important to note that she identifies him as valiant. Now, what does the word valiant mean? Strong, courageous. Is there another synonym maybe that you guys can come up with? What about you, Stump? Brave. Okay, so there's plenty of those out there. Now, let's talk about what I identified. The diction of the word valiant that the mother uses is trying to convince Juliet to fall in love with Paris. Do I identify the figurative language use? What is it? The word valiant, which is an example of the figurative language of diction. Very good, Callie, and very good, Damien. The queen is persuading her daughter that Paris is a worthy and strong individual to marry. Now, is that clarifying why that figurative language was used in this passage for the author's purpose? Now, could I reference Shakespeare instead of just saying the queen is persuading? Could I also use Shakespeare in that case? If a prompt were to say that the author is doing something, that's how I would do it. Okay? So, do we have any questions about how and clarifying how we need to do this properly? Okay, so guys, go ahead and begin talking with each other. My management plan is to go ahead and talk through with you and go around the room, making sure that you are on the right path, okay? I will be looking at your Chromebooks also through Securely, which is that Google form that allows you to like look at the text on your Chromebooks as you're going through. And also, if you have any